Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Incident Management Cafe. I'm Kamalesh Srikanth and have my co-host Robert Crum here. Hey, Bob, thanks for being on.
Hey, hey, Cam. Good to see you again. Thanks for having me in.
Likewise. So today we wanted to talk about something that started to become a lot more prevalent now, especially with the pandemic, with remote work, but has existed for quite some time, and that is the need for mobile response from a standpoint of incidents, from a standpoint of operations, service desk, whatever it may be, from an IT or IT ecosystem, and even extending beyond IT. Why and what is this concept of mobile response, and just a high level overview. So, Bob, I know that you know quite a bit around this topic, and from a standpoint of how the IT ecosystem has evolved over the years, why and when do you really need mobile response, right? When do you need to take action on something when you're not directly in front of it?
Sure. So Cam, let's look at the why first. So why is it necessary, and why are we seeing more and more of it? Well, first of all, there's the concept of ownership. So ownership might mean an individual owns a certain thing or a team. We see this a lot in DevOps. So in DevOps, there's a concept of services and service ownership. So why is that necessary? Well, with the always-on digital networks of today, there are a lot more high or critical events that happen, and you need a quick response. So that's one of the reasons why. And then of course the other evolution is 24/7 operations. Used to be when their businesses were, you know, um, 8x5 operations, and everybody would just leave a voicemail on a phone system for the next day. Maybe emails were sent. Well, now it's everything that's mission critical needs to be covered. So we have a lot more on call, and the on call, it could be an overnight scenario or it could be a weekend. So when do you need mobile response? Well, basically you're away from your desk. You're away from your workstation, and that workstation or desk could be in the office, or it could be your own desk. So, why you're away from your desk? Well, maybe you're simply out, grabbing a coffee. Maybe you're sitting and listening to a lecture, right? Maybe you're out eating lunch. Whatever the case may be, maybe you're in training. There may be scenarios where you're away from your desk, but you're still available to take calls or take alerts. Uh, and then, of course, also, if you're not available, then there needs to be sort of a mechanism to to hand off your coverage to somebody else.
Got it. So then, from a mobile perspective, right, where it does warrant you to respond fairly quickly, but at the same time, you're not in front of the incident, you're not at your desk. What types of response mechanisms or mobile response actions should be available for individuals to take, right? From a best practice perspective, what should, in the future of mobile response, remediation or response actions actually look like when someone's not at their desk?
You know what? I think the future is, and the desired response really is to resolve it just as if you're at your desk. Because again, we talked about the need for it. It's high or critical events, so they need immediate attention, and then they also need a quick resolution as quickly as possible. So I mean, what are some ways you can respond when you're mobile and when you get it on your phone? Well, you could acknowledge the alert, right? Take ownership, and then maybe wait until you get in front of your desk. Obviously, that's not ideal. But why would you need to do that? Well, typically, maybe you need to gather more information. You need to access some other systems. Maybe not as easy to do that from your phone. Um, or, you can simply let it escalate or pass it off to another person who's on call. Again, sometimes that has to happen, both of those cases.
Mhm.
that could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess the what I'm curious about is kind of that concept of remediation that you touched on. And since every business, at least marginally, has different processes from a standpoint of how they go about addressing certain types of incidents, would you say that that remediation action and what really mobile response as a whole is working towards is being able to do things like pull that data from other systems into your mobile view, being able to potentially run a remediation action. So now that you have the appropriate information in front of you, well, I realized that this was a byproduct of a commit that was made this morning. Can I tap a button and roll back to the latest working build? Right? Things of that nature. Would you see or envision that kind of becoming the future of mobile response in the space?
Yeah, Cam, I really do think so. And the reason is this. Um, in today's world, there's a proliferation of systems, right? I mean, in terms of monitoring, there's probably an average of 7 different types of monitoring systems. Um, there's a concept of run books. You
Mm-hmm.
know, run books have been around for a long time, but today we're moving more and more towards the requirement and the need for systems to talk to each other. So that's, that begins with orchestration. So orchestration is, we talked about, maybe I need to go raise a ticket uh, in another system. Well, today that's done through APIs. Previously you had to actually log into a system. That's no longer necessary when there's APIs. Systems can talk to each other, and we're moving in that same direction with remediation, right? Runbook actions. So a runbook action could be, you can access some sort of a CI/CD system,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you could simply you can number one is you can pull in some details. You can pull in details from any one of these other systems um, to get more data that you might need. That can all be automated. It can be automatic based on rules. That can, when you get the alert, you might also get the actual data from other systems, which will inform you better about what you need to do. Or it can be on demand. You might look at it and go, let me pull information from this system and that system. And then I don't need to create an incident ticket, but maybe I want to create a JIRA ticket, right? This looks like a bug to be worked at. So today, all of that can be done in the phone. There's no need to log in, to run back to your desk and do these things. The other piece that happens is collaboration. That's a
Mm-hmm.
key. And again, collaboration, this could be during normal working hours, right? Maybe you're sitting down at a Starbucks and you're looking into it and you go, you know what? I remember this problem happened, but sounds like something happened before, or it's showing up in my data feed, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are the 5 most common causes. I need somebody from the data team, right? So I can just simply right there add them into a chat, or I can just launch a chat channel like Teams or Slack or whatever it is, and then again through automation, data can be dropped into the channel to get it started. And a lot of people today are using chat sort of as a system of record, especially in incident response. Um, and that feeds into your knowledge base, feeds back into your runbook actions,
Mm-hmm.
right? Builds your knowledge, your shared knowledge base. So yeah, so pretty much today, I would say we're moving away from having to do everything from your workstation. And things like the pandemic and remote work, they pretty much, I think, accelerated that whole process. Um, businesses are remarkably resilient. The people react quickly and come up with new ways of doing it. And we're seeing the evolution everywhere, um, from proliferation of systems to systems needing to talk to each other, to development of open APIs, to more systems like runbook systems, you know,
Mm-hmm.
having those same kind of APIs, more advanced levels of security. so that you can feel better about, running those things through an API.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think just based on what we've discussed, the need of mobile response is very clearly apparent. But then the added value, both from a standpoint of the responder as well as the organization as a whole, is monumental. When you think about it, from a mature mobile response perspective, you receive context, you receive automation and orchestration, the ability to collaborate, as well as potentially remediate your issue on the fly. So I definitely think that the future of mobile work, as it matures and maturing IT organizations, will not only become an intermediary step to let people know that you're going to be looking at something, but actually address an issue on the fly. Thank you, everyone, for checking out this week's episode of our Incident Management Cafe, and catch you on the next one. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Cam.